host. Change host. There you are. Hi.
Hi,
How's it going? Oh, good. We can hear you. Fantastic.
everyone.
That's always the nerve-wracking thing is in a live event, you never have to worry about whether someone's voice is going to actually be there.
Yeah, no, for sure. And this is nice because normally I have my headphones in. So this is the first time I'm doing this without headphones. So I'm glad I can hear everybody too.
Yes. I love your top, by the way. You look so nice.
Oh,
And real quick, while we're talking about tops, I'm wearing the Veil Project top.
Oh, I love it. Nice. Way to
So guys, remember how valuable the Veil Project is. You can also go and donate to them as well. All right, so let's talk about, so you are an artist, but you're also an educator. Right now, you're primarily doing art stuff because of the COVID situation. But yeah, tell us a little bit about the education that you do.
Yeah, so I was an educator for about 8 years, primarily in the Bay Area, mostly in San Francisco and in Oakland. So I've worked with ages from preschool up to high school. And then since moving back down to LA, I've been actually dabbling in teaching elderly, so seniors, which is
how cool.
All other realm. But yeah, but as a teacher, I kind of like to dabble in a bunch of different kinds of mediums, which I also like to do in my art as well. Just because it's just really fun for me to experiment with all different kinds of mediums. Plus, I also feel with the people who I get to teach, not everyone has the same kind of interest. So I kind of like to leave it open for them to kind of choose where their strengths are. And just really explore in all these different realms. So what I've taught is beginning ceramics. I've done a little spray painting with students, painting, drawing, working with textiles, so learning how to sew and make clothes and stuff.
Cool.
Or
you really do everything.
Yeah, I know. The list could just keep going.
I love artists that do everything because I'm one of those artists, and I'm always when I meet someone else that does that, I'm like, oh, good. There's other, this is a thing. We're all doing this. We're all busy. We all have so many things we're interested in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, let's talk a little bit about your process too. So that's the teaching you do, but you have your own projects that you're working on right now, including one that we're going to be giving away a print of later in the thing, which is the Black Lives Matter print. Yeah. So yeah, let's talk about your process for putting that together.
Yeah, I actually have a little slideshow for that.
I would love to see your slideshow. Let's do the educator.
Yeah, I know, it's my teaching habit. So, but it's all pictures. There's not going to be
Let's do it.
Okay, cool. So I will screen share. Okay, sharing this.
All right.
You can see my messy desktop.
Right.
So
I know, everybody saw mine too. Messy desktop city.
Yeah. Oh, let me make this bigger and move us over. Okay, cool.
Great.
I will put that away. Okay, so this is just a photograph of what my studio looks like, which is really just a section of my bedroom. So yeah, so this is my desk area where I primarily work on doing textiles and sewing, and then this is also where the sketching goes down. So this is where I kind of start brainstorming my grandiose ideas.
Nice.
But then also what I have on my desk that I like to kind of keep inspiration around me. So if you look at the image that's on the right hand side, this is a print I did of my teacher from high school, Miss Kasara, who was such a big inspiration for me and really opened my eyes to really expanding my creative realm versus just only drawing and painting realistically. So she really helped me kind of find my own voice with my art. But yeah, and then just having prints of other artists as well, which I really love supporting other artists. So I'm really happy to be a part of this whole artist talk too, and to hear everyone's processes.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
We're happy to have you.
Oh, thanks. And this is transitioning. So, okay, because I don't have like my own studio, I just like kind of make the most out of whatever space that I have. So I do live in a house with other people who have, which shout out to my classmates who are in.
Let me use the kitchen. Yes.
Yeah, so
That
this
is
is
so kind.
our dining room. So they have been so nice and generous to let me take up like half of our dining room table to do like when I do my painting work. So
That's supportive.
yeah, they're really great. I'm very lucky. So yeah, so this is kind of what that looks like. So yeah, and then there are other realms of like where I need to work. Like I just kind of realized like as an artist, I need to kind of keep moving around to different spaces. If I stay in one spot, it just kind of disrupts my like creative flow. So it really helps for me to kind of just be in a few different spaces.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So can you show us some of the sketches that you're doing? Oh, I see.
Oh yeah, I'm getting to it.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you though. But
Yeah.
yeah, what I'm going to be showing is like the process of what it took for me to create the Black Lives Matter poster, which is this is like the final result of it.
Okay.
But yeah, so these are just some snippets from my sketchbook, which is like crazy messy, and I know some of these notes don't make sense, and
But they make sense to you, and that's what's important. That's how notes. I mean, the sketchbook is really for the artist.
yeah, so it goes in. I don't have like a very strategic format of how like my pieces come about. So it kind of like really varies on what the subject matter is for it. So but usually like I put out like a few like thumbnail sketches, and then I kind of like write a few notes if I already can picture in my mind what this piece is going to already look like. Or sometimes like it'll go in the form of me writing more, like doing word maps or something. But then it evolves once I like kind of have the gist of the ideas laid out. Then I start getting into sketching like what I want it to kind of look like. So I kind of just like took these two different forms and combined them into the final piece that you saw earlier, which I'll show also later afterwards as well.
The broken handcuffs is such a like it's such a like a powerful symbol too here.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
So like, yeah. No, thank you for saying that.
Yeah. Well, because it resembles what's happening now, but it also kind of it kind of suggests like shackles of slavery and stuff too.
Yeah.
It's back to history. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Sure. Yeah, because like the feel that I was going for, I mean, just like with everything, like with everything that was happening, like with the protests, like when they were first starting, and then like with them currently going on, like I just had a lot of like emotions going through my mind and my head, knowing like people that have been involved in these unfortunate circumstances, and then also thinking about my students as well. So kind of like, well, the image on the left was actually the original idea for the poster, but then I felt that it needed something a little bit stronger. I felt it didn't speak enough about the anger and pain that I was feeling anyways. So that's why I kind of transitioned to incorporating the casket on the side, and kind of having the hands, the position of the hands change to it being like the person is getting out of the casket, being like resurrected, but which I'll get into more of those details later. But then it came to the back side of finding all the names of all the people that I wanted to commemorate who have lost their lives through police brutality. And on the bottom that you see here, these are just only like a few of the websites that I have researched. There were many more that I went through, but I can't remember all of them because I kind of just went through a rabbit hole through all of them. They're really great resources though. If you want to get more educated about it, those resources are available, and I can also like copy them into the chat for those.
Yeah, that'd be great. Feel free to do that when we're off.
Yeah, but during my research of just finding all these names, I wanted to kind of humanize those names and those numbers. So I was, not only like finding the names, but also seeing if I could like find out more about the person themselves.
Right.
And the common thread that I was finding in this unfortunate, very long list was these points right here of like people have just a history of, either they're mentally ill, or they were just racially profiled, or they were falsely criminalized, or they were just trying to survive, and or also unarmed, which was just really unfortunate to find. So some of a few people that I wanted to note was, like, for instance, like Tamir Rice, who's like 12 years old, who was just like playing in a park with like a BB gun, and and someone called the police on him, and but to commemorate his life, he was like a very athletic boy who played like all kinds of sports. He was also really creative, and he participated in this rec center in the park that he was shot at. He participated in this rec center in doing all these different kinds of really cool art programs, like learning how to draw, do ceramics, like painting. And so he was really creative. And also he was also a very pleasant student, from what his other friends and teachers had said about him.
Yeah.
And like Breonna Taylor, 26 years old, who died this year, which I won't even get into that. A lot of people, she's been on the news a lot lately, but just kind of remembering her. She was like an example of someone who was trying to, make a better life for herself. Like she came from a family of other people who worked in like the medical field. So she was an EMT, and she was working as an emergency technician. And then she was also trying to go to nursing school, and she wanted to start a family with her boyfriend, and also had a very like bubbly and outgoing personality, according to her family, from what they had said. So yeah. And then last one that I'll note, and then I won't do any more. But
no, this is great.
Yeah, Michael Lee Marshall. So he's not a super famous one, but his story was really interesting because he's like a 50-year-old man, and he has a mental illness of schizophrenia. And so sometimes, like socially, when he's around people, especially people that don't know him, he may come off, he'll react in ways that might not seem normal. Like it might not seem like normal social interactions. So, which maybe some people might take differently. But unfortunately for him, he was arrested for trespassing. And then while he was detained, he, unfortunately was like assaulted by like 3-4 other officers, because he just like got up and was just kind of walking around, and they unfortunately just like assaulted him there, and he died shortly after that. So I just wanted to note these individuals in particular, just to kind of shed light about how, from also having working in like the Black Brown community for most of my education career, finding like all these names, just like the more and deeper I got into this hole of finding all these people, it was just really disheartening.
Yes.
For me, especially as an educator who, tries really hard to bring hope to young students, especially Black and Brown students, to really encourage them that they can, make good and better lives for them. But then, when all this stuff is going on in the community, and especially since the pandemic and, protests, things have been, shedding more and more light. It's just, I can only just imagine and feel for all of them. So that's what really prompted me to make this poster, to just say that, it's enough. It really is enough, and there really needs to be change that needs to be made, on all kinds of levels, and whatever people can contribute, it's important, no matter how small or big it is. So that was what my main message was with creating this. Pretty much, like, if I'm to go just quickly into like the details of like the front of it. So like I had said, like with the casket, it's just kind of showing like these 3 figures. So like George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery, who were like the 3 pivotal figures who really kind of like added to the fire of these protests really erupting. It's kind of just showing them pulling themselves out of this casket and coming out of the shadows and darkness to really resemble how, even though that they are no longer here with us, their memory will live on through the people that you know, remember all of them, and are doing the work to create that change that they helped start. And then in the back with all the roses, so it's supposed to be blood splattered on the roses. So as at the top, it's lightly splattered, and then it gets more and more saturated as you go down. So that is just to kind of show like the increase in bloodshed that has been happening through police brutality, unfortunately. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, yeah.
And then on the back of that, it looks like you have the names of a
Yes.
whole bunch of individuals.
Yeah, so it's what I was able to fit. There is definitely way more, and unfortunately, I feel bad that I couldn't fit all of them. But that's also too where I feel like the education is key for people to seek that out themselves.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So then that's where it brings me to, you know, the hope that comes out of this, because I mean, I have noticed it, and I hope that others have noticed it too, that even though that this whole time has been a struggle, there has been some progress made, and for progress to continue to at least happen, like people just need to keep, you know, doing their part. And so with the posters, I actually don't profit anything from them. I have 100% of the proceeds from whatever posters I do sell go to this really amazing nonprofit organization called Woke Kindergarten, which I can also put their info on the chat too. But this is like their website and their Instagram. But I've been following like this group for like a few years now, and I am just like in awe of the work that they do. And the founder of it is this really amazing person named Akia Gross, who was also an educator for a very long time, working specifically with kindergartners in the East Coast, and specifically in Black and Brown communities. And they have just this lovely way of really mobilizing young people to speak for themselves, speak out loud about what they're feeling, and not feel like they have to hide themselves, and are true to themselves. And not only that, that they love themselves for who they are as well, especially living in a world where, you know, they unfortunately aren't loved in certain circumstances. So they do a really amazing work to really help the next generation do better. And it's really great. So
That's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, so I put up the link for Miss Z's prints, so you can go and get purchase those, support your project. And then I also put the Instagram for Woke Kindergarten, so people can go take a look at that. I would love it if you'd shared the other links for resources, so people can go and do their own education as well. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, no, me too. I'm very happy.
Yeah, that's really inspiring, the Woke Kindergarten. I'm really interested to see how that progresses.
Thank you. Thanks so much. I'm sorry if I went over time.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You had a very important message, and we built some extra padding in, so don't worry. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. It was beautiful work. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.